Good evening. The City Council Local Redevelopment Authority boards are now in session for the city of Riverbank. Today is June 13th, 2023. Hello, Tom. It is 6 p.m. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
Let us pray. Father God, we just come before you this evening once again, and we thank you for this opportunity, Lord, as we do business for the city of Riverbank. Lord, I pray, Father, that each one of us, Lord, feels the safety in the room to be able to express ourselves. But at the same time, Lord, do our part in making this city a great city that it is. We truly fix our eyes on you. We thank you for all that you've provided. And Lord, we just pray for a good night tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe.
Here.
Councilmember Jones Cruz is absent. Councilmember Barbara Martinez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Here.
Mayor O'Brien.
Here. Conflict of interest, any council or authority member that have a direct conflict of interest on any scheduled agenda items to be considered, declare the conflicts at this time. I have a conflict with item 10.5, which is the landscape and lighting district for Crossroads. There in the, prior to us hearing that item, we'll draw lots to see who remains on the podium and or the dais to either yes or no, and the other one goes away. At this time, we're going to do a proclamation for Disability Awareness Month for June of 2023. And Kathy, Anna, Chana, would you come on up? You all have speaking parts.
My wingmen. Okay, yes, I am. Do you want me to,
70 years.
do you want me to do that?
Largest medical bone closet in Northern California.
Yeah. What do you need me for? Now, the Society for Disabilities has been around for 75 years. We do have the 76, excuse me. We do have the largest medical loan closet between the cities of Sacramento and Fresno. We have 5,000 pieces of equipment that we can loan to people who are permanently or temporarily disabled due to a surgery or injury. We also pride ourselves on the wonderful programs we have that are run by my beautiful coworker, Chana Kang. Coming up, we have Day on the Farm Saturday, where we will treat 600 people to horseback rides, a barbecued lunch, a hay ride, storytelling, carnival games, petting zoo, and a whole lot of fun out there. And beyond that, we do adapted sports like basketball. We don't do basketball. Bowling, bowling, baseball through the Miracle League. We do snow skiing, we do water skiing. We just added golf and we added a drum circle. We are looking forward to partnering with the city of Riverbank. We are hoping to work on a murals project with you because we've been wanting to bring art into our portfolio for our disabled clients. So that could be really fun for them and really interesting for all of us. So we're looking forward to that. I'd also like to introduce Anna Canberra, and she is my very capable operations or director of operations. So when I'm out of the office, I don't worry about anything. Even when I'm in the office, I worry about very little because I have a wonderful, wonderful crew that helps me do this important work.
And Chana?
Didn't you see her shrink up against the wall when I mentioned?
I'm very proud to be associated with this organization. They do superb work. Any day, any one of us could become disabled, either through an accident, illness, or some type of procedure that did not go correct. So the City of Riverbank Proclamation Disability Awareness Month. Whereas the City Council of the City of Riverbank has recognized healthy communities as a priority, and whereas the next year, at least 1 out of 8 Californians will experience a disability personally or through a family member. And whereas disabilities can affect all people regardless of race, age, gender, or social status, and the essence of life is not embodied by the physical or mental perfection, but it is by the integral part of the human spirit. And whereas increasingly public awareness about diverse abilities is vital to fighting the stigma and discrimination that often serves as a barrier to employment, socialization, and individual well-being. Whereas communities thrive when residents appreciate the unique gifts inside people of all abilities. And whereas education, understanding, access, engagement, and relationships are important components of a connected, liable, livable, and healthy community. And whereas the Society for Disability will commemorate June 2023 and each June thereafter as Disability Awareness Month. Now therefore, let it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Riverbank, that June 2023 is Disability Awareness Month within the City of Riverbank, and we urge all of our citizens to become aware of the needs and the capabilities of persons with disability. Signed today and with the all the council members here. So this is now a photo op since you already did your speaking. You want to do yours now? We're going to have Senator Alvarado Gil's presentation.
Hi, nice to meet you, Jacob.
Yeah.
So on behalf of Senator Alvarado Gill and the California State Senate, it's a great honor to recognize the month of June as Disability Awareness Month. And a special thank you to the Society.
So Jacob, this is going to be a photo op. And while we're doing the photo op, which we're going to go, come on down, Council. Let's stand behind it. And Jacob, if you could ask Senator to emulate what Senator Caldani did, is there doing this the Awareness Month? Well, you can post it. You guys can put this. I'm in the back. Jacob, thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm sorry. See you Saturday. Public comment. At this time, members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda and with the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council LRA Board. Individual comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and time cannot be yielded to another person. Under state law, matters presented during public comment period cannot be discussed or acted upon. You must speak directly into the microphone and directly to the council. For those public comment via Zoom, the procedure on the last page. Do I have public comment tonight?
Mayor, we have a written comment that was submitted before the meeting. To whom it may concern, as a resident of Riverbank, I firmly oppose the proposed Riverwalk project. It is badly conceived idea which would result in irreversible harm to the town and surroundings, not to mention the residents. Riverbank does not have the infrastructure to support such an ill-conceived development, not to mention destruction of habitats and wildlife corridors. depletion of aquifer water, recharge, and affecting wills and urban sprawl. Please stop the Riverwalk project. Thank you, Riverbank resident Carol Barr.
Thank you. Any on Zoom?
There is no one on Zoom wishing to speak.
Anyone from public? Good evening.
Hello, Mayor O'Brien and city council members. I'm here also to let you know that I oppose the Riverwalk project. And for all of the reasons that the person just said as well, prime farmland is next to the Stanislaus River, so there's riparian habitats, wildlife, plant life, wildlife corridors. Excuse me. Here's a natural aquifer, and if it's paved, a beautiful aquifer, high quality. If it's paved over, then you lose that natural recharge. It's on a floodplain. There's infrastructure needs that need to be met. There's the possibility of increased cost to your residents. And there's the urban sprawl and the county islands that would be created. Thank you again. I hope that you vote no when this comes before you. Thanks.
Any further public comment?
Evening, members of the council. Just wanted to provide a brief legislative update about what's been going up in the Capitol. So the senator, our office was able to get 10 bills passed up in the state Senate. Those bills are now in the state assembly. Most of them are in committee, waiting to have their hearings. So I'll start with 3 bills I talked about in the past. SB 226, that was the bill related to fentanyl and the possession of a firearm. That is currently in the Assembly Public Safety Committee. SB 268, that would make all forms of rape a violent felony. Also the Public Safety Committee. And then 470, that would provide drought relief to communities in wildfire risk zones. And that is in the Natural Resources Committee. And then 3 more I just wanted to highlight. SB 589. This bill establishes a fund that will provide emergency disaster relief to children in foster care. That typically deals with kind of like our mountain and foothill areas that are affected by wildfires. And then SB 716, this bill would give state excluded employers such as managers and supervisors the option of requesting binding arbitration as a method for resolving disputes with their state employers after exhausting the current grievance resolution procedures. It is sponsored by the California Correctional Supervisors Organization. And then finally, SB 796. This bill makes it illegal to threaten to commit a crime that will result in death or great bodily injury at a school or place of worship, punishable as an alternate felony misdemeanor. And that is going to the Public Safety Committee. That concludes my legislative report. If anyone has any questions.
Very much.
Thank you. And I also just got my business cards, so I'm going to provide those. And if you have any questions about ledge or anything, you can.
Any other public comment? Saying none, we're going to move forward on the consent calendar consisting of item 9.1, waive readings. Item 9.2, approval of the City Council and Local Redevelopment Authority Board minutes from May 23rd, 2023. Acceptance of 9.3, acceptance of the overlay project 2022 and authorization to file a notice of completion. Item 9.4, resolution to award bid for the Riverbank Police Gate and Fence Project to the Golden Bay Fence Plus Iron Works, Inc., authorize execution of future change orders and authorizing a budget amendment for an additional $94,923 for the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Item 9.5, resolution to approve a new engineering service contract with Adora Group, Inc., and authorize city manager to enter into a contract with Adora Group, Inc. and William F. Cole to perform general municipal engineering services for the city of Riverbank. Item 9.6, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riverbank, California, to approve a subdivision improvement agreement for the Heritage with the SMC Hearthstone LLC and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement. Item 9.7, resolution to approve final map 04-2022, the Heritage APN 062-020-001. Item 9.8, resolution to award bid for the Third Street parking lot project to Consolidated Engineering, Inc., authorize the execution of future change orders and authorizing a budget amendment for the additional $256,924 from the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Item 9.9, a resolution to award bid for the pavement restoration 2023 project to Pavement Coatings, Inc., Company, and authorize the execution of future change orders. Is there anyone wishing to pull any of these items? Anyone from the public wish to comment on these items? Seeing none, I bring it back for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as stated.
A second.
We have a motion to approve and a second for the consent calendar. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
Item 10, public hearings. These public hearing notices were published in the Riverbank News on May 31st, 2023. From items 10.2 to 10.8. Item 10.1, two resolutions for consolidated landscaping and lighting districts to 1, amend or approve the engineer's report and levy the collection of annual assessment related thereto for the fiscal year 2023-24, and 2, ordering the levy and collection of annual assessments for the fiscal year 2023-2024.
Mayor and City Council, Kathleen Click, our Development Services Administration Manager, will be providing the staff report for items 10.1 through 10.7.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Tonight before you, we have our annual assessments for our landscape and lighting districts for Consolidated, Ridgewood Place, River Cove, and Sierra Vista. So annual assessments cover the costs of landscape maintenance, street lighting, capital improvements within each of the districts. Maintenance costs and assessments are reviewed annually. So this year with a new contract, our prices are increasing. Courtney Estates, South Bend, Elmwood Estates, Keontae, Sterling Ridge, and Eastwood Estates. This is not only for the maintenance, but also very mature trees, a lot of maintenance as far as keeping the trees trimmed, and some that we're having to replace, some landscaping we're having to replace. So we want to keep Riverbank looking nice. So we have these small increases. Keontae is the largest one. Reason is there's just a few homes there. So it's a larger amount to cover, but this is an annual charge that's on their taxes. Ridgewood Place. Then we have River Cove. River Cove, you'll notice there's no increase. We are at the max on River Cove. So for us to go back and get any additional funds, we would have to do a bonding type ballot for each of the residents, and there'd have to be 100% participation in agreeing to that. So Sierra Vista. And then so tonight, I'm just recommending that you approve the 23-24 fiscal year and levy and collect the annual assessments for the landscape and lighting districts for Consolidated, Ridgewood Place, River Cove, and Sierra Vista Estates.
Thank you. From the council, are there any questions? So I take each one of these individually. I still have to take 10.1 individually, correct? Okay. Bring it, oh. I open public hearing for item 10.1. Saying no public comment, I close public comment. Bring it back to the council for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10.1.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve item 10.1, two resolutions, and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
Item 10.2, and please look on Zoom for any comments. Item 10.2, two resolutions for Ridgewood Place lighting and Landscaping District to amend and or approve the engineer's report and the levy of and consolidation of annual assessments related thereto for fiscal year 2023-24, and two, ordering the levy and collection of annual assessments for fiscal year 23-24. Any comments before I open the public comments? This is a public hearing. Any public comments?
There is
Seeing
no one, Mayor. Oops, there's no one, Mayor.
none, I close public comment, bring it back for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve both resolutions for 10.2.
I second.
We have a motion to approve and a second for both resolutions on item 10.2. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Item 10.3, two resolutions for River Cove Landscaping and Lighting District. Number one, amend or approve the engineer's report and the levy and collection of annual assessment related thereto for fiscal year 23-24, and two, ordering the levy and collection of annual assessments for fiscal year 23-24. Is there any questions or comments? I just have a brief question. If we're at the maximum at the River Cove, for the assessment, do we just limit the amount of work to the amount collected?
We would have to do that if we get to that point. We're not at that point right now.
But you're close.
We're close.
Right, thank you. Any other comments, question? This is a public hearing. I open for public comment.
On Zoom, Mayor.
Thank you. I close for public comment. I bring it back for consideration.
Make a motion, we approve item 10.3, both items.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve and a second on item 10.3. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Item 10.2, two resolutions for Sierra Vista Estates, Landscaping and Lighting District. 2, 1, amend or approve the engineer's report and levy and collection of annual assessments related thereto for the fiscal year 23-24, and ordering the levy and collection of annual assessments for fiscal year 2023-24. Is there any questions from the council? Saying none, I open it for public comment, public hearing.
There is no one on Zoom wishing to speak.
Saying no public comment, I close the public hearing. I bring it back for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10.4.
I second.
We have a motion to approve and a second for item 10.4.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
we're going to skip item 10.5. We're going to proceed to item 10.6, resolution of the City Council of the City of Riverbank, County of Stanislaus, State of California, ordering the levy and collection and assessment within the Riverbank Storm Drain Benefit Assessment District number 2006-01 Heartland for fiscal year 2023-24. Is there any questions or comments from the council? I open for public hearing.
There's no one wishing to speak, but we have to hear the presentation first.
Oh,
Sorry.
we had,
But it's
this is
storm
a
drain.
second reading.
These are the storm drain districts that we
I-
have.
I promise to make it very quick. We
Sorry.
have two, so it'll be really quick. Both of our storm drain districts have healthy reserves. So, and looking at that Heartland Storm Drain District, we're increasing $1.96. This is the Heartlands is behind the commercial center. And then we have a Sterling Ridge Storm Drain Basin with an increase of $3.46. And this is over in our Harless Park. Just asking that you approve these tonight.
I have a question. Why
Yes.
isn't all of the city in the storm drain? I'm sorry, I always ask that. But the purpose of the storm drain district is to collect all the stormwater, which, would have ran off into the river, and we filter it to the aquifer. So any subdivision that we do will have that capability, not only that capability, but that mandate under MS4. So it's gonna be recharged and not go into the river like some places are doing it now.
Definitely. But our CFDs and all our new development is in a CFD, which covers our storm drain.
All right. Any other comments or questions of Kathleen before we go for 10-7 and 10-8? We've already, let's go for public hearing on 10-7.
Actually, 10
Says
6.
10-6. I knew that.
We're off
I
on
already
our-
said 10-6. Yes, 10-6. Any public comment?
There is no one wishing to speak, Mayor.
Okay, I'll close it again. Bring it back for consideration.
Make a motion that we approve item 10.6.
I'll second it.
A motion to approve in a second on 10-6. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Now we have 10.7.
I know, but there's a 10.8. In the printed version, there is no 10.8.
Correct. The last agenda had it as 10.8, which was the
So
resolution.
we're just
of
gonna do
intention.
10.7. All right, item 10.7, resolution of the City Council of the City of Riverbank, County of Stanislaus, State of California, in ordering the levy and collection of assessments within Sterling Ridge Benefit Assessment District for fiscal year 2023-24. Is there any questions of Kathleen on this? Okay, this is a public hearing. Public comment, please.
Mayor, there is no one wishing to speak.
Then I close public hearing, bring it back for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10.7.
And I'll second.
We have a motion to approve in a second on 10.7. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Now we're gonna go back to 10.5 and draw lots. I lost last time with a greater odds. No, not lost. I get to continue with my duty. Darlene, if we would you have to go. I wanted to give it to Rachel.
You pick again.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's-
I couldn't win the Kentucky Derby either.
Good
Okay.
evening, Mayor and Council again. This is the Crossroads Landscape and Lighting District. We have some increases to district benefit and then zone 1, 2, and zone 4. So tonight I'm just asking that you approve the fiscal year 23-24 engineers report and order the levy and collection of the annual assessment and disregard 10.6.
Keep it at 10.5. Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions of Kathleen before I open public hearing? This is a public hearing. Do we have any public comments on the Crossroads?
Mayor, there is no one wishing to speak.
Then I close the hearing, bring it back for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10.5.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve in a second on 10.5.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes,
Motion passes 3-0.
no, thank you. I'm glad I've always get to increase my assessment. Bye. Okay, item 11.1, how was your respite? A resolution to reduce credit and or waive the SMC Hearthstone LLC system development fees for the Heritage subdivision. This was the one that we approved, the changes in our consent calendar?
Earlier, yes, you approved the final map and the subdivision improvement agreement for this particular development. And so Donna will be presenting to you today the request from the developer for fee credits against their system development fees.
Evening, Mayor and council members. Yes, you are correct. You just did approve the subdivision improvement agreement and the final map. Thank you very much. So the last thing is to take a look at their system development fees. And as mentioned, this was SCM Hearthstone. So why do we have system development fees? To finance unfunded development costs, expand public improvements, ensure continuation of services, minimize costs to the city, and this is all charged to new construction. Here's to refresh your memory, the Heritage subdivision map. It's north of the high school at Patterson and Claus. A quick overview of the homes. This architecture and site plan design review has already been approved by the Planning Commission. So these are the system development fees assessed to each home. We are using the 2022 amount. And the reason for this is that the developer had come in, he started putting in his improvements already and negotiating with the city, and then the fees changed. So we stuck with the ones that we'd already been negotiating on. So as you can see at the bottom, the total system development fees are about a little over 23,000 per unit. In yellow, you can see the possible changes. One is to water, the storm drain, streets and public works. Water, they're looking at doing 5 permits at 0 amounts of water, the 6 permits at a lower reduced rate, and then 36 permits at the actual level. Storm drain would be waived, and streets and public works would be waived, but there would also be a reimbursement, and I'll go into details right now. So with the water credits, the city engineer approved a $63,722 reduction from the total water system cost. There's an additional length of line that was installed in Central Avenue. So that would take the cost per unit from $79.14 to $79.07 on each unit. And there's also a 41,000 plus reduction for additional water facilities that were requested by the city engineer in the field. The stormwater credit, they developed full public drainage system adjacent to the development. They also shared construction costs of the Diamond Bar East Regional Basin. They actually run their stormwater through the new Sierra easement to that regional basin. As far as traffic credits go, they are doing the frontage improvements on Claus Road, even though the subdivision isn't sitting exactly on Claus Road. That will be the concierge that sits there. They're doing the crosswalk at Claus Road and Sierra Street for the school kids. And then both of those are in the citywide SDF program and eligible for credits. So we recommend that you consider and approve the water, stormwater, and traffic credits. The requested fees assessed in the construction of these dwelling units at the Heritage. There's 47 lots, and there is a resolution for you to approve if you so desire. I also have the project applicant, Steve Mothersell, here if you have any additional questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I read the report. To me, I think it's logical. Are there any comments before we go bring it out for the public? Okay. Yes, we are moving along. I appreciate the developer and what we're doing on both sides of the tracks. So are there any public comments? Zoom?
There is no one on Zoom wishing to speak.
All right, I'm going to bring this back for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve item 11.1.
And I'll second.
We have a motion to approve item 11.1 and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Uribe,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much, Donna. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to fiscal year 2023-24 major fund budget workshop.
Mayor and council, our Assistant City Manager, Tammy L. Cantor, will be providing this item, which I'm sure she's pleased to finally see coming to fruition and to a very near end on this process that is ongoing for several months.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'll be presenting you with the fiscal year 23-24 major fund proposed budgets and looking for feedback from the city council and the community. And would be interested in and to anticipate that these budgets will be adopted at the June 27th meeting. So our major funds, what are major funds? Our major funds receive the majority of the city's revenues. They are typically discretionary based on the type of revenue received. They provide resources for the operations of our city. Our major funds include the general fund, including our recreation fund, gas tax, sewer fund, the water fund, and the public benefit fund. So first, we're going to go over the general funds. So the city's primary discretionary fund is the general fund. Our revenues allocated at the discretion of the city council, sales tax, property tax, and then any general revenues not specifically allocated to another city purpose via council resolution or state law. Expenditures encompass a variety of core municipal services, parks and recreation, planning, building, administration, legal, development services, and our stormwater administration. So for fiscal year 23-24, we've estimated that our reserves at the beginning of July would be almost 5.6 million. Our revenues are projected at almost 14.2, and then our ongoing expenditures at 14.5, with some one-time projects expenses at 179,000, leaving our total reserve estimated at June 30th of 2024 at 5.1 million, or 36% reserve. There is an assigned reserve for section 115 at 1 million, an unassigned reserve at 4.1 million, or 29%. The required reserve that has been set by the council is 15%, which would be the 2.1 million, which means we are projecting a surplus to our reserve requirement of almost $2 million. There is a structural deficit in this budget of 493,000. Almost 500,000 there. So our budget revenues in 22-23 are projected to finish at 13.5 million, and we have proposed revenues of 14.2 million. So that's about a 5% increase, or is a 5% increase. Here is a graph of our revenues over the year. As you can see, the progression of the revenues have continually increased up across the years. And our major revenue sources, sales tax, property tax, and property tax in lieu of VLF and transfer in. We are projecting a 5% change in sales tax. Property tax an 11%, property tax in lieu of VLF 4%, and then our transfer ins are 3%. So the State Board of Equalizations authorized the 2% on our property tax. So that has been taken into consideration when we make that projection for the property tax. Our new housing development that's underway will add to our property tax revenue. And you can see there's several of them there in both East and West Riverbank. And the other thing that is associated with this would be our building permit fees and our VLF property tax swap. Sales tax revenue, consistent growth year over year. We are projecting a 5% growth for the next fiscal year, the 23-24. And then I provided the top 25 sales tax remitters, which is 74.5% of our sales tax that's generated. And those are in no particular order. It's alphabetical, actually. So here's our revenue indicators for the sales tax, and you can see again, over the last few years, we have been increasing it. And just to note, when we do the sales tax projections, I did not take into consideration, or I took a very small portion of the major retailer that's potentially going to be open before the end of next year. So here is our expenses. In 22-23, we anticipate to end at 14 million, and we've proposed expenses at 14.6 million. It's a $600,000 increase, a 4.3% change. Here's a graph that shows how our expenditures are split out. Salaries and benefits at 34%, law enforcement contract at 38%. And then the other small ones are our fund subsidies of 10, operating expenses 17, and capital outlay of 1%. Staffing costs for 23-24 do include a 4.1% increase, which is based on our MOUs for the negotiated cost of living adjustments of 3% increases in cost of benefits. And then 2 new personnel positions, a parks maintenance worker 1 and a recreation coordinator. Our law enforcement contract has gone up 6%, or is estimated to go up 6% from the 22-23 to 23-24. And the school resource officer position is in there and includes, we did take into consideration the funding from the Riverbank Unified School District. And then we continued with the 300,000 in funding offsets by the Public Benefit Fund. So capital outlay is about 190,000 in this year's budget. That's actually lower than last year. We have some storm basin outfall ramp repairs. That's being split between funds. So that'll be through our storm district, through general fund, and through the water department or water fund. Some replacement doors at the pool, a sewer replacement upgrade, a down tree replacement, and a robotic pool cleaner. So in the future, we need to continue to monitor the effects of the unfunded state mandates, the SB 1383, the stormwater MS4 requirements. Those continue to get to place more burden on us for managing our system. And then the continued gas tax fund subsidy. Future recession, you know, some say the signs are still there. At this time, the average mortgage rate is 7.6%. Home prices are $494,000 for a median home price, and then average rental rates are at $2,000. All of those up from last year. So our gas tax fund is our next fund that we'll go over, and this is our streets and road maintenance and our street projects. So we're anticipating a 21% increase in revenues, and those revenues are obtained by estimates that are given to us from the State Department. Expenditures do have an increase of 6.4%. And we are seeing higher costs in our materials for certain maintenance items. We also increased our personnel in that department So there is a $255,000 general fund subsidy required for the maintenance budget. Some major expenditures that we'll be doing with the SB1 money, a crack seal machine, Bobcat attachments, Palmer and Patterson, Sierra and Palmer, Patterson at Ross Alley, Topeka Street overlay, calendar to Jackson. So our next fund is our sewer fund. We have revenues show a decrease and our expenditures show a decrease. A large reason for this is in the 22-23, we included the loan that we received to assist us with the solar project at the wastewater treatment plant and some of our water facilities. That was like 1.2 million in the sewer fund. So those expenditures and the revenue is the primary difference in the 23-24 budget. 97% of our revenues are from user fees. And as I just indicated, the 20% decrease is largely due to the SiteLogic Energy project. There is a 3% increase in revenues for the service connections and based on the new 5-year rate plan that we recently adopted. Sewer projects include lift station upgrades for Roselle and Candlewood, a sewer line replacement in the alley between Sierra and Patterson from 1st to 8th Street, the alley between Sierra and Stanislaus from 1st to 3rd Street, and then at the wastewater treatment plant, some Muffin Monster replacement teeth. You know, that's such a funny name. Okay, so now we'll be on to our water fund. We've only seen a slight increase in revenue there, 1%, decrease in the expenditures of 16%. So the revenues increase are basically from service connections. There is not any rate increases planned for in the water at this time. The rate study project expenses that had been delayed when we did not start the consumption charges are continuing to get put back into the budget and getting taken care of. Which here are some of those projects: the water line replacement, Sierra Alley 3rd to 8th, the well maintenance rehab of 85,000, a vac valve exerciser for 85,000, a Welton discharge line 65, Crossroads tank new cabinet and PLC for 45,000, and well 8 new cabinet and VFD for 35,000. So our next fund is the public benefit fund. And we have a slight increase in our revenues that's projected 2% and expenditures an increase of 6%. Currently Perfect Union is closed. We have Flavors and Canneries that are currently open. So that is why the revenues have kind of stayed pretty stagnant there. We are still funding our neighborhood improvement officer and funding the deputy and CRO position. So the next will be, I'll take feedback from the council tonight, answer any questions, and then it will be brought back to you for adoption at June 27th meeting. And staff has all intentions of still moving forward with a section 115 request for proposal. So that ends my presentation and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Go ahead.
None for sure. So do we know what our ratio is to our officers per capita for, population? Do we know what the ratio is?
I do not. I don't know if Chief knows that.
How many officers do you have? And we have 25,000, so we're less than. But our force multiplier is our camera system, which is a tremendous benefit for us. And Chief, are you concerned? Are you concerned that you only have 21 officers?
to make sure that we, stay on top of it because our city is growing with population and I just want to make sure that we don't get too far behind before we consider where we really should be again. Thank you.
And as we continue to grow, just a reminder that all of these new developments are annexed into our Community Facilities District or CFD. Part of that CFD fee that we collect does go towards public safety. I wish at this point in time that I could say that we're receiving enough to be able to fund an entirely new deputy position, but we're not. So we're slowly getting there.
No questions, just quick comments. I am excited to see our Trust 15 allocation moving forward. We got to be ready for those caliber expenses and stuff, and excited to see that full-time position for that recreation coordinator. So definitely needed. That's it. No other questions.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, kind of echoing what you were saying. So speaking of a growing city, I think it's important we invest in our parks and recreation. So it is exciting to see those positions. Do we know what the timeline looks like to get them on board or hiring process?
So once the budget is adopted, then our HR, Cheryl will take that and add it to her list. Although I know that it is a need and she has several going right now. So I'm hoping that she'll be able to get on that fairly quickly. So, and a recruitment, 2 to 3 months usually. Mhm.
The shortfall of $255,000 that we have to allocate from the general fund, can we loan that to it, whether we get paid back or not? I do not want to see a maintenance of effort be applied to the city in future, since we already have a budget deficit. There may be, well, to get state funding, you're going to have to pay $255,000. Let's loan it with the expectation we may or may not get it back.
We had discussed that and considered that in the past. I think what we have to be very careful is that in the event we get audited, that they will see that loan, obviously, because they do see the financial statements and they will still consider that as part of the MOE because there's still a shortfall in funding and the expenses continue to be at that pace. And so that influx of money, regardless if it comes through as a loan or as a subsidy, is still being shown as a general fund allocation.
The biggest concern I have is when the state gets really in dire straits of funding, so are we, and they start applying these maintenance of efforts.
And they do already. We receive, and it's not just SB1 or our gas tax, our Measure L also uses the exact same figures for our MOE. So that has been a discussion that we've been having about how we try to control some of those costs.
And is there a scenario that we can get out from underneath it in the next 5 years? Can we be creative enough? I don't like giving away money for each project that we have to do.
It depends on how much growth we continue to have, where we could look at the possibility of reallocating our street staff to be funded through the CFD, as some of the CFD funds we are collecting that will go towards street maintenance and storm drain maintenance as well. So at one point we might be able to reallocate some of that, and that's going to be where we can probably be as creative as possible, short of delaying maintenance, which I'm sure
don't
Cody would
delay
not want to do, especially with all of the new staff we've been able to add and how proactive we've been able to be.
Hey, my direction would be accept all your major capital expenditures. Look in earnest for 115, make sure that we get that invested. And I know you're gonna have to bring it to us. The other one was, I know we're doing MS4 and all of our new subdivisions, making sure that we continue with MS4 and the funding for that unfunded mandate. And the final is continue looking for revenue streams without increasing taxes like we've done with property taxes. looking for more sales taxes. We may have missed the boat on applying a 1% or some X% in sales tax increase, because I think in the future that's not going to be available. But we currently don't need it. Other cities did, and I think that we've been prudent, and as long as we continue to be prudent. I do have one question. Last year, we had a projected structural deficit, and I think we made that up. What was the structural deficit difference between then and now?
I want to say it was between the $40,000 and $50,000 range.
That's what we ended up at.
No, that's what we originally projected at. What we're ending up at. I don't know that I have that, but I
We're-
want to
we're
say,
not at a structural deficit at the end. Okay, so your goal is to prevent us being at a structural deficit at the end of 2024 fiscal year.
with operating, yes. With some one-time expenditures
We'll be, yeah.
that would be coming from reserve.
Any other guidance, everybody? No? You okay? All right, and continue looking for the capital improvements that we need. I know we have a plan. Let's look at it. When do we look at that again? Next January?
Capital improvements for just in general
You
or?
do your capital improvement update.
Yeah, we
Kathleen,
actually
when-
do it every year. So she'll be looking at that next year.
So we need to take a look at that closely on how we can keep on track so we can keep the city well maintained. All right. That's the guidance. Do we want public input on this? Do we have any public input on this? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And good job, Maricela, to your staff on that, because I know each department worked hard on it.
All Tammy, she was able to get this all done in the wee
So-
hours of the morning.
So we have to vote on it next city council
So next
meeting.
city council meeting, as required by state law, we do need to have an adopted budget or a resolution to continue the existing budget. But if there is no feedback or major changes, then Tammy will bring back to you the full operating budget for the city, which includes all of the other funds that we
And-
also oversee.
And in our final budget, you'll have the nice, pretty package.
Yes, that one is where the nice pretty package will come into play. Tammy's working with her new software to be able to create it with that new software, make it more interactive for you and
I like
easier to
that
read. I hope.
prettier than the county's budget.
Always.
Sorry, I digress a lot, don't I? All right, we move into comments, staff comments.
So a huge thank you to Sue and her staff. Today is the last of the Riverbank Downtown Market events. I think it went over very well and was very successful. So thank you to her and all of her staff for being able to organize that in such a short time frame. Provide activities for the children during the events themselves. So hopefully everybody enjoyed that event. Just a reminder to all of our residents that we are closed on Monday in honor of Juneteenth. And that same day, there is an event that's being held here in downtown from 11 to 5 p.m.
Thank you. Councilmember Uribe.
Thank you, Mayor. So just one quick comment. So I will be attending the Sister Cities fundraiser with our vice mayor, which is scheduled to be June 24th during the cultural event at the community center. The event will run from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I would like to express my gratitude to the Modesto Fire Department for their kind donation of a gently used fire equipment, which we will be coordinating to be sending it over to Tamazula, Mexico. So the mayor of Tamazula knows about this, is excited about it, and sends his regards to everybody at the city. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Barbara Martinez.
Tomorrow is our Stanislaus Homeless Alliance meeting at 1010 10th Street. Everyone is invited. And then on Thursday, June 15th, will be the Stanislaus Latino Chamber of Commerce. They're hosting their scholarship reception. And lastly, I attended a webinar on current priority legislation, so I will be up to date knowing what's out there and what we need to understand and find out how it's going to affect us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Just one thing, I'm serving on the Cal Cities Executive Committee and they're representing the Central Valley, part of the Central Valley Division where we're going over legislation and just ways for Central Valley cities to connect and network. We got more policy updates across the state that Councilmember Varma Martinez gave us an update on as well for public safety. Generally, we're out there being the voice for the Central Valley and making sure that our voice is heard at when we're going to the state capitol to talk to our elected members.
Thank you. I want to encourage everyone on the dais that when you have the opportunity, build up Riverbank and then say, we could do more with your help. Senator Eggman gave us $2 million and we're using that quite well for our homeless. And hopefully by November, we'll be up and running with Sierra House and some of the programs. The other thing is that we've got $2.5 million that will help our microgrid at the community center. And that was just by asking. And it was, well, we'll see what we can do. We didn't expect much. We saw that, you know, no one communicated with us and all of a sudden it was, there it is. We had got the 2.5 million, which will give us a battery backup. So when there is an emergency like there was at Jamestown 3 years ago, the residents were looking for a cool place. Then if we're ever off the grid, the community center will be able to be a shelter, not only for outside residents, but our own residents. So that is a plus for us. So continue to ask for it. Congressman McClintock, we met in DC, has been willing to not call it an earmark, but there's funding out there anyway. It's your money. I'll do everything I can to get it. So if you have projects that you know is federally allocated, his staff will be able to help you gather that. So those were just very, very good wins for us. The Air Board has this program that they started last year for the 216 process, which is or 616 process, identifying areas of bad air, such as communities down south, Shafter, Southport of Stockton. And they came up with a program which is free for everybody that would like to participate. It's called the Clean Room Program. What it does, it has a filter wrapped around a air mover that will remove all your particulate matters, especially contaminants from fire or forest fire, wildfires, and your room will be clean. It's for asthmatics, for anyone that would like to have it. You can get one per household, and it has a value of around $400, plus they give you replacement filters, and it's available. They're trying to give away, I want to say 20,000 in the state, so throughout the state. So our area is eligible to do it. Put it out there. If you know people who have lung conditions, have them apply for that. And I think it's a program that much better serves the community than giving $15 million to Frito-Lay to convert to electric energy. But that's my own opinion. We have a couple of outstanding issues that we need to get out to the public. And you know which ones they are. One is of legal issues that I want to have that paper as soon as possible. This is on the North County corridor. The right-of-way will be certified in September, October, and that'll give us the boundary between Modesto and Riverbank. And we need that established, gone through the process, so we can secure the Four Corners plus other areas that Modesto is trying to develop there fast. And I want to make sure it's not again, nothing against Modesto, but that will be a natural boundary. I'd like to see that move along expeditiously, please. We have no closed session. So our next regular city council meeting will be June 27th, 2023 for our budget review and possible and for consideration. So everyone be here. Thank you and have a safe week.